Hi guys, this is Carmen from Cami TV. I'm gonna do this video a little bit different from what I did with the first video, and I hope you like it. So this video is gonna be my October wrap up. I did read quite a few books. I kind of sort of regret it because I had a big major test on November 6th, which was yesterday when I'm recording this voiceover, but I enjoyed some of those books. I sort of participated in the Spooktober and Hocus Pocus readathons. It's just like an incentive for me to read more, in which I did read a lot. So I'm just gonna go in the order that I finished them in the month of October. So the first book, graphic novel that I read was Mooncakes by Susan Walker and Wendy Xu. The synopsis that Goodreads has is that it's a story, love and demons, family and witchcraft. So we follow Nova Hyung, who is a teenager witch, and she lives with her grandmothers, where she helps them learn spell books and investigate supernatural occurrences in their little town. And then one night, an old friend comes back and they have to battle it out with the demon and go against the dark forces that are going in their town. I did enjoy this book. I always enjoy graphic novels because they're pretty easy to read. This book did have LGBTQA plus representation. The story was fun to read. It was something new. I don't usually read a lot of LGBTQ plus representation book, in which I'm trying and hopefully doing better in doing in the future. And I gave this book a 4 stars. The second book that I read in October was Howl's Moving Castle by Diane Wynne Jones. And in this story, we follow Sophie, who is the eldest of 3 daughters. She has to figure out what she has to do with her life. She's working at her dad's hatter shop, but it's not something that she sees herself that she will enjoy in the future. She unwittingly attracts the Witch of the Waste, and she gets a spell and she gets transformed into an old lady. Sophie then thinks that the wizard Howl will be able to undo the spell because he's also a powerful wizard. So we find ourselves following Sophie's journey to help Howl so that she could get the favor of him and undo the witch's spell. And oh my god, this is probably like the best book that I've read in a while. I love the storyline, I love the characters, I love the pace of it, and Howl, oh my gosh. Oh, yes, so Howl, yeah, hit me up. So obviously I gave this book a 5-star rating, and I know there's other books in the series, but from what I've read is they don't follow Sophie and Howl, they make references. I don't know if I'm going to keep reading them because I just want more of Sophie and Howl, but we'll see. I haven't seen the Studio Ghibli movie either, this Howl's Moving Castle. I know. I'm gonna see it. So if you haven't read the book, but you've seen the movie, I believe that they're different. So it would be something new for you guys to read. The third book that I read was The Unbecoming of Myra, Dyer by Michelle Hodkins. In this story, we follow Myra Dyer, who lost her memory after a traumatic accident that she was the sole survivor. She then moves to Florida in the hopes of leaving everything behind and starting all over. She starts a new school, and it's a YA romance, so she finds a guy, Noah. And may I say, Noah, hit me up too. I feel like you should go on this one blind, sort of, even though it's been pretty popular since like the early 2000s, so I'm kind of late in getting into this book. But it's a good supernatural sort of book if you enjoy that. I gave this book 4 stars. I could give this book a 3-star. The romance was good, so was the mystery, but at times Myra was just a bit too much for me. The author wrote her as book smart. Like, she was like, oh my gosh, school, I have to get this right. And then there were points in the story where she was just not acting as how the author was portraying her, and she was just making her look sort of childish at some points, and then at some points she was trying to portray her as like an upcoming adult trying to look out into her future. Well, there are other books in the series, so I am thinking of reading the following 2 books, and I think Noah has his own book series in which I am gonna read those. So yeah. And then, as it was spooky season, I read The Shining by Stephen King. I think everybody knows what this book is about, or sort of what it is, because of the movie as well. And I felt like it was already time for me to read this book and see what everybody was talking about, especially the Stephen King fan addicts. So I feel like I don't need to go over what this book is about, but it's just a man moves in a hotel in a desolate place in the middle of the winter to take care of a hotel, and things go down. Overall, it was a good read, but oh my gosh, there were some points in the story where there was just too much of adjectives, you could say, or too many descriptions. I believe some of those things could have been cut down. Some of them didn't add anything to the story, especially with the dad. I felt like his things could have been cut short. It's just too much. Ending was a big bummer for me. I wanted more from it, you could say, instead of like what was in the beginning and the middle of the story. I wish there was more at the end. It was too rushed. If you know the last scene, I don't know, I still haven't seen the movie, but in the book, the last scene, if you know what I mean, I wanted more. I felt like it was the fairy tale ending that you would have expected, sort of, but it was disappointing. So I gave it a 4-star, maybe a 3.5, but it's a good book. I see why the hype is around this book. Next we have The Slippery Slope by Lemony Snicket. So this is the 10th book in the book series of The Unfortunate Events. I've never read it when I was younger, and I'm just trying to catch up on the middle grade books that I wasn't able to pick up when I was younger, and this is one of the book series that intrigued me, following the tale of the Baudelaires and their series of unfortunate events. After they lose their parents in a house fire, they go from one home to another as they avoid the clutches of Count Olaf. I believe that everybody has already read this series, but I'm just trying to catch up, and Netflix created their Netflix series about the book series, and I'm going along with the books that I read and watching those episodes. I gave this book a 4 stars. The author is slowly changing how he's telling the tale of the Baudelaires, which I'm enjoying because it was kind of getting repetitive throughout the last few books, but I'm curious on how this is going to unfold because there's a bigger mystery that you get to see little by little in each book. So the next book that I read was 172 Hours on the Moon by Johann Hartstadt. So this is a thriller YA book. It's about 3 teenagers who win the NASA's worldwide lottery, who will have the chance to go to the moon. NASA describes it as an opportunity of a lifetime, but little do the teenagers know that something is waiting for them on the desolate surface of the moon. You know, we love it. I have to say this book did scare me closer to the end. I could not walk in my house without the lights off, especially when I'm walking from like the living room and there's like a hallway going into my room. I did not feel safe. I did not want to look over my shoulder. I think it has a higher scary level than The Shining in the scary meter for me, so I could say this is a good book to read if you want a little scare. I think I would have given it a higher rating if I was a younger age and sort of understood the teenagers' crappy moods towards their parents, or the sucky levels of relationship, you know. I was just annoyed by some of the teenager comments made at the beginning of the book, but I think that was the main purpose, especially as they are teenagers, and I think the author was trying to portray that. But as you go throughout the book, they do grow up, especially with like the circumstances that they find themselves in the moon. So it was a solid 4-star read. And then I read sort of a classic, you could say. I think it is considered a classic. It is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. In this story, we follow the story of the Blackwood family, especially the character Mary Cat, who lives on the family estate with her sister Constance and her uncle Julian. Not long ago, there were 7 Blackwoods, and slowly throughout the book, we find out what happened to the rest of the family. They're at the beginning of the book. Their days pass in happy isolation until another family member comes in and changes everything. I don't know, for whatever reason, I was expecting this book to be scary. I think that the only thing that I got from this book was just that it was sort of disturbing, the relationship between the sisters. I don't want to say too much because I feel like that ruins the book if you haven't read it yet. I just had high hopes. It was like a favorite for some people that I know of, and I guess I had high expectations of loving the book as well. So yeah, it was sort of disappointing. I gave it a 3 stars, but it is a book to read. Just don't take my review on it. You should read it, as you will formulate your own opinions on the book. And the second to last book that I read was The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Lavalle. This story, we follow Charles Thomas Tester, who does little mini jobs here and there for people that will require his services of just transporting goods. Kind of like a smuggler, but I don't know. It sort of gave me that vibe. He carries a suitcase, and that's where he carries his things, because he's a black man in New York City. And we see his life of the hardships that people of color face through, especially with like the white men looking down on them. At the very beginning, Tom, he delivers an occult tome to a reclusive lady in the heart of Queens, and that's when Tom opens a door to a deeper realm of magic, and he earns the attention of things that are best left asleep. Things go down. If you have not read this book, I suggest you do so. It's a must read. It talks books about the social injustice that people of color face and what rage and revenge can make a man do. I gave this book a 4, but I keep going back and thinking about this book, and I might give it a 5-star because it's just a well thought out book. It's just the ending, like that's what made it drop sort of to a 4, maybe a 4.5. I don't know, but it's a good book to read. And the last book that I read in October was The Grim Gerardo, which is the 11th book of this Unfortunate Events book series. So I won't say anything much because it's already I already stated what the book series was about with like the 10th book. In this 11th book, things are moving along, and I'm curious. The mystery is slowly starting to dissolve and take shape. I'm gonna pick up the 12th book in November, and I can't wait to see where the story goes. I'm so close to finishing the series. It's been a long time coming, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Oh, and yeah, I gave this book a 3 stars. But yeah, I'm excited. So these are all the books that I've read. Oh yeah, so I read 9 books, which is I think it's a little bit more than what I've read in the past few months. So I enjoyed them. I hope you enjoyed this little wrap up that I made. It's kind of a weird one from it's not the same as what you see in booktube, but maybe I'll change it up for November's wrap up. But I will be filming a November to be read pile. I already have them selected out. Well, I already filmed it, but I don't know. I already finished one of the books that I set in the to be read pile, and there's some books that I'm already losing interest in them, so I might swap those out, but I'm not sure if I will, because I really want to read them too, because I want to know more about them. But this is kind of bad, making a to be read pile, because I'm a mood reader, so I usually don't follow when I set myself up for it at the beginning of the month. I do read some of them, I just change a few here and there, so it's hard to make a to be read pile when I change things so frequently, and I go with what I need, because I don't want to give myself a reading slump. I had a pretty good October read. I've already reached my Goodreads goal, so I'm not going to force myself to read so much in November. So I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful week, wonderful evening, wonderful night, wherever you find yourself in this moment of time. And I thank you for clicking on this video, and as always, be kind to yourself.